All right, we will continue on with Vanderbilt head coach Derek Mason. Coach, will ask you for a quick opening statement,
Right.
and then we will open for Q&A. As a reminder, if you will raise your hands, we'll get a microphone to you for questions.
Yeah, I believe from where we ended the season until where we are now, from December until now, it's been a grind. We've been able to really, with the unmet, unkept expectations of 2017, this group has had to grind. And we've had to get everything that there is to get and understand that there are no days off. And so that's the approach that we've taken. The idea for me, in looking back at 2017, and I do believe I need to start there, is that this team is better because of what we went through, what we encountered a year ago. The idea of a fast start, the idea of struggling through the middle part of the schedule as we got into conference play, and then finishing the right way. It galvanized this football team, galvanized our players. They haven't forgot it. I haven't let them forget it, and that's led us to this place where we are today. I'm back being head coach of my program, and that's where I need to be. With the addition of Jason Tarver as defensive coordinator, it's actually made it much easier for me to see exactly what my program needs, what it wants, and I trust Jason. I handed the reins over to Jason, and I only walked into one defensive meeting this spring, and that was the first one. Other than that, we're same guys, same philosophy, same thoughts. We come from the same family tree, and it's been a seamless transition. Guys like Aaron Moorhead, who was at Texas A&M, before that, Virginia Tech, before that, Stanford University, his experience is valued. He developed guys like Ty Montgomery, Doug Baldwin, Christian Kirk, and now he gets to work with Kalijah Lipscomb and a host of young talent. So I'm excited about where he is. Terrence Brown is a new addition. It comes from the University of Washington, where he worked with corners. He played for me at Stanford. He played in the system. He understands it. The idea of bringing in, Sean Miniga as our special teams coordinator. The staff has been seamless in terms of the transition. The confidence is high. The energy is great. The swag is back in the building. But more than anything else, the discipline, the work ethic, the RTI brand and mentality is back, and I think our depth is better than it's ever been on both sides of the ball. So I'm excited about where this program is. I know people on the outside looking in don't know much because you don't spend much time on West End. If you do, if you come out, you watch the practices, you understand exactly where we are, then you'd understand my excitement because I get a chance to be head coach. So now, with that being said, I'll turn it over for any questions.
All right, we'll go right here on the aisle on the left side, back row.
Derek, when you think about your first year as a head coach at the college level, what were some of the mistakes that you made that you had to learn from to get better?
Some of it, well, I'll start with staffing. Hired late in this process, put together a staff that really was probably not my ideal staff, but it was what was available. And I think staffing is so important. To get it right the first time is exactly what you want to do. I first time having to go through that, it was tough because it's not about being right, it's about getting it right. And so having to make staffing changes and understanding exactly what that was, the idea of watching somebody else, call the defense and not necessarily understand the players and put those guys in the best possible position offensively and defensively to be successful. That was tough. I think the idea of managing expectations, managing in-game adjustments like in the SEC, in the environment that is the SEC. I think that's all on-the-job training. For a first-year head coach. If you ask Kirby, if you ask any of those guys who are stepping into it from a coordinator's position, I think they'd all say the same in year one. There's a lot to learn, but going back and being defensive coordinator was something that had to be done. But it took me away from the idea of being able to oversee everything in my program that was needed and necessary. It left me a little overloaded on one side of the ball and really doing things that really was meant for a bigger staff and a bigger idea. So now, being 5 years in, heading into my fifth season, I'm a different dude. I do feel seasoned. I do feel that I do have better perspective. I feel like I have the right staff. I feel like we've been able to build recruiting, in the right way. And what happens is, like a year ago, I looked at this team, and you look at the depth, and there wasn't enough. You know, we had guys who had come from other schools who were having to sit out a year. We had young guys that physically weren't ready to play and had to get reps. But now, I feel like I got a mature team with a quarterback, and I'm the guy sitting at the helm, and I'm excited about Vanderbilt football and everything Nashville, so let's go.
Go down here on the left side, on the front row, all the way at the end.
Well, speaking of the quarterback, Kyle Shermer, when he was good, he was really good last year, but seemed to struggle with consistency from one week to the next. What can you do to address something like that, and what indications have you gotten over spring to suggest that that will be different?
As you look at Kyle's had to deal with a myriad of things, changes every year, which most quarterbacks have to deal with. But the departure of three offensive linemen a year ago was big, especially in this conference. You got pass rushers, you got guys that can stop the run, and so we started off with the idea that maybe we'd have enough balance in what we did, but actually playing Alabama showed us that we didn't have enough depth and definitely not enough balance. And so with that, it put more on Sherm. But here's the thing, for him, he's got NFL pedigree. He's a quarterback nobody's talking about, but he's had to do more, not with less, but probably with more against him. And for him to be able to, stand tall, be big, start to rely on, his sense and his abilities to throw the football. And I know he had some experience outside, but I think we're more talented now than we've ever been. So for him, I think the line's better. I think our run game's going to be better. I believe in our receiving core with Kalijah Lipscomb, has big playability. So this dude is primed to have success. So now what we got to do is keep him upright. We got to let him continue to grow in the game. But I've spent more time with Kyle over the last 4.5 months than I ever did during his first 3 years. And it's been about helping him understand how to undress defenses, how to see the game faster, how to get it out of his hands faster. Being around Brett Favre when I was in Minnesota and seeing, what he went through, the full field reads, how fast it came out, how he saw defenses. We've been able to cover a lot of ground. And so I'm excited for this dude. This dude's going to play his best ball in 2018. So, let's sit back, relax, watch the dude play, and enjoy the ride.
Go to the camera platform on the front row, right in the middle.
Coach, what was it specifically about Aaron Moorhead that intrigued you and made you want to make him a part of your staff?
We go back. We go back 8 years. You go back to Stanford University, and he'd come into my office and talk about, here's Doug. Here's what's on Doug's mind, confidence. Let's talk about confidence. Let's talk about, what's happening with a young Ty Montgomery. I saw his development. I saw his ability to coach guys, relate to guys, recruit guys. Phenomenal. And then now to some years later have an opportunity to work with a guy that's my dude. It's fun. We look and laugh at each other because we look to see who has the best tennis shoe game coming into the building. That's fun. We can go play hoops. His kids have been over to the house, in the swim. I know Aaron. I know how he can develop talent. He did it at Virginia Tech. He did it at Texas A&M. And so it leads me to believe that he's going to have the same success at Vanderbilt University. So I'm excited.
Go over here on the left side of the front row, right in the middle.
Hey, Coach, the last 2 years you've been able to beat your in-state rival Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
How have you used that to your advantage in the recruiting trail, and how important was it last year to end the season on that note, not making a bowl game but beating Tennessee?
Well, Tennessee's going to be Tennessee in our state. They probably outnumber us fan-wise 5-1. So I don't. Their fan base is their fan base, man. It's huge in the state of Tennessee. But for us, we try to make sure, that we can control the controllables. What happens between the white lines is what matters. I don't care what they say on TV. I don't care what the line is going into a ball game. You got to play the game, and that's what we try to do. We tried to come out and play the game over the last 2 years, and I think that's where we stood. Finishing the season the right way is what you need to do, and these guys did it. Has it helped recruiting? Absolutely. We just brought in the best recruiting class that we've had in my tenure. And I believe this talent, coupled with experience, gives us a deeper team, gives us a different team than I've ever had. The thing that I'm probably most excited about, when I start to look at this group and what they've been able to do, they've got confidence in themselves. Even though, we lost games and didn't play the way we wanted to, I've been confident with these young guys coming in and recruiting, and a lot of in-state Tennessee kids are now on our roster. I like the idea of where this team is. You know, man, we've got a lot of in-state kids, man, that have leadership qualities and abilities. And this team is more leader-led than coach-led when it comes to playing football. When we put the ball on the ground, these dudes get after it. They don't need me, okay, to hype them up, man. It's about these dudes playing ball. I like that. So I like where we've gone. The Tennessee game, you know, man, builds a lot around that because, you know, in our state, they talk about it 365 days a year. But with that being said, we just have to continue to keep moving forward.
Go standing over here on the right side.
Coach, due to the running back depth, last year you were able to redshirt Josh Crawford.
Yeah.
I want to see how he benefited from that, and what do you think the expectations are for him and how he can be an impactful player in the backfield this year?
Yeah, Josh is multifaceted. He really is. And Coach Ludwig has coached guys like him, guys who can, you know, take it from the tailback spot, a guy who can line up at wide out and has hands that are unbelievable. He's a different type of running back because he can do so many things. He's a Swiss Army knife, and that's important when you talk about the running back depth and value and differences. You know, to me, he can play on third down. He can play on first and second down because he understands, you know, how to run the football. But I truly believe his best football is yet to come. Both him and Keyshawn Vaughn were redshirted a year ago because of Ralph Webb, and now what we have is as deep a running back pool as there's been in the last 5-6 years at Vanderbilt.
We'll go standing back here in the camera position on the left side.
Coach, week 3 versus Notre Dame, what excites you about that opportunity?
Well, I'm excited for our program. I'm excited for, Commodore Nation. They get a chance to get on a plane, go to South Bend, and for them, our fan base, you know, it's a great opportunity to see Notre Dame, touchdown, Jesus, and everything that comes along with that trip. For me, it's about the ball. I've been to Notre Dame. You know, I've been in that stadium. I've played. I've coached in that stadium. I've had some hard-fought games in that stadium, and fortunate enough to be on, in a couple of wins and a loss. So for me, I'm excited for our guys. SEC football is SEC football. I don't think we fear anybody. We want the opportunity. It's a great game coming in Game 3. But right now, this team is really focused on MTSU and where we have to go. And when that game comes, we'll be excited. We'll be ready to play.
We'll go standing back here on the right side.
Yes.
Coach Larry Fedora said the other day that he feels like the game is under attack and it's going to be a lot different in 10 years. I just wonder, as a defensive guy, what's been the biggest evolution in the way that you teach the game, and where do you see it going?
You know, for me, I mean, every coach is entitled to an opinion, and, you know, I try not to get in my feelings about that, my particular topic. And I've been coaching for a while, and for me, it's always been about, you know, eyes up. You tackle with your eyes. You make sure, man, that you run to and beyond contact. And when guys do it, they're successful. When they don't, they put themselves in harm's way. The reality is, you know, you have to teach it the right way, coach it the right way, believe in your process. I've been doing it the same way for the last 16 years, and what I believe is that it works. So with that being said, I think we all have a duty to make sure that we keep our players safe. NCAA, universities, Vanderbilt, the SEC. I believe our leadership has done a great job of expressing their concerns about, you know, what's needed and necessary for us to be better, and I think we're taking the proper steps to do that. So with that being said, our game is continuing to get better, and we're seeing the concussions and everything else come down, so that's a testament to paying attention to the details.
We'll go standing back here on the right side.
Coach, you talked about Kyle Shermer a lot. He's a veteran quarterback in this
Yeah.
league. There's a lot of those in this league this year. What's it like to face so many talented QBs in the SEC now?
Well, when you look at talented QBs, this conference has no shortage of them. You know, you probably couldn't say the same 4 years ago. But the reality is coaches have done a better job of developing, QB talent. I believe this conference makes you a better quarterback. You know, pass rushers make you get the ball out fast. Decision-making is in taking care of the football is at a premium. And, you know, right now, I believe Kyle is poised to play his best ball. For me, what I look at and say is that, every year he's gotten better. Every year, man, he's had to, deal with different adversities. And this year, I think he has his deepest offensive line, his most talented, skilled guys around him. And this dude is probably, stepping into his prime as a college quarterback. He understands the game. He's unfazed. He's been around it a long time. And, he's really like Cool Hand Luke. So I like his mentality, his demeanor, and I look forward to watching him play in 218.
Coach, we'll go to the camera position right there on the right side in the front row.
Yes.
Coach, this is not a trick question. So
Okay.
I'm not trying to bait you into anything, but
Sure. So you're
when you
baiting
were-
me.
No, yeah, pretty much. That's
Okay,
that's
yeah.
how I preface that kind of thing.
Okay, go ahead.
When you were 16 years old,
Mm-hmm.
what was your dream car?
I was 16 years old. What was my dream car? Any car. To be honest, any car when I was 16 years old was a dream car. I caught the bus. I lived in the orchards and I walked down a dirt road, to get to the bus stop. So when it was all said and done, any car was my dream car.
Go over here on the left side on the aisle, second row.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, what are your thoughts on the current status of the stadium and other facilities?
I knew somebody was going to go there. That's good. Love it. Look, man, the idea is this. In my 5th year, and getting back to the head coaching position, there, you understand, exactly where your program sits. You understand what you recruit against. We're not looking for the Taj Mahal. Okay, we don't need that. College football is not even moving in that direction. NFL is not moving in that direction. What we need is a facility that speaks to Nashville, that speaks to Vanderbilt University, and gives us our best chance for success. Like the reality is Nashville is a growing city. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. It's exciting, okay? And in that market, it's a competing market, okay? When you have other teams with other facilities, everybody's looking for the best buy. So, looking at Vanderbilt, man, we have to do a better job. We're working towards doing a better job. Our administration is on top of it. They understand the need for it, and it's moving in that direction. So now what we got to do is solidify it, move forward, get it done, and everybody be happy.
We'll go to the camera position on the front row right in the middle.
Coach, you've had the opportunity to be a part of several SEC Media Days. Now that it's here in Atlanta, what has your experience been like with this event here?
You know what? It's a great opportunity to get it or move it to a different city and still keep it within the same footprint that is the South. I truly believe the opportunity every once in a while to move it around is a good thing. It gives people outside of our conference an opportunity to see our cities, what we do, who we are, what it looks like. And this year in Atlanta has been fantastic. I do miss the Winfrey. I do miss the idea and the overall nostalgia of what that place is. Okay, but Atlanta's been fantastic. Hotlanta's a great place, and I like the idea that they had to move it. So it's been fun.
We'll go over here on the right side, second row.
With regards to the offensive line, can you talk about them a little bit? And
Yeah.
you talked about the depth. Realistically, how many of those guys do you think, when the season opens, will be ready to step in at any given moment and play?
Well, it's anchored by the guys that I talked about: Justin School, Bruno Reagan, E.J. De La Ripa, Sage Young, Devin Cochran. But then you look at Cole Clemens. Cole Clemens played a lot of football. Sean McMoore had to sit out last year with a back. Sean's 325 pounds. That dude's a monster. He's gotten his weight down. He's healthy. He's ready to go. When I look at Cole Clemens, he's played a lot of football. Bryce Bailey, is ready to play. We've got guys on retainer, to play ball. They've gotten some experience, and the reality is, you need depth. In this conference is a physical game. Where we have more depth is not just in linemen, but the size. I look at our tackles. Our tackles are the smallest tackles, 6'6". Those guys are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". We're as big as we've ever been. I look at across the front, man, we're 300 pounds with no exception. And these guys have gotten bigger, faster, stronger. James Dobson has done a tremendous job. So the depth, to me, is important. And then I include guys like Dan Dawkins, who is probably the top center, one of the top centers in the country, coming with Alan Walters, into the program. We've got guys that can step in and play. So, the reality is that I don't care who has to step in and play. They know and understand, the physicality of this conference. And if they don't understand it, we're going to baptize them real quick.
Got time for just a couple more. We'll go standing on the right side in the back.
Coach, another serious question from me. Hattie B's or Prince's?
Both.
Go right here on the back row, right in the middle, right side.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, you open up with MTSU again this year.
Yeah.
Fourth straight year we played them, and Ralph Webb has really been a difference maker in all three of those games. First question, talk about facing them again without Ralph Webb this year? And second question, would you like to see that rivalry renewed after this year?
You know what, MTSU's a mid-major program that's been able to stay on top. You know, Coach Stock's done a great job, and it feels like his son's been there 10 years as a quarterback. I mean, he's talented. Stockstill's done a great job of leading that program. You know, at the quarterback position, his son has played extremely well. He's probably one of the more talented passers in all of college football. So the rivalry has been fun. It's been a great game to play. This is the end of that rivalry coming into this season, and you know, really for us, we're excited to open this thing up and let's see where it takes us. But you know, for me and my program, we want to play good teams. MTSU's been to 4 straight bowl games. They understand how to win there, so it's always good to start against a quality opponent like MTSU, and let's see exactly where we are. Let's gauge who we are as a program and where we are that day. And so it'll move us forward. I'm excited to get to that game, and it's coming fast. So let's go.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.